Hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. So my name is Prabhat, founder at Online Seller UK, and we've started doing a series of podcasts with GS1 UK and to bring out you latest information about what's happening in the GS1 world or EN world, and also to educate you, how to use GS1 barcodes or GTIN or EN or UPC. So, sorry, that was mouthful, wasn't it? So today I've got Lorna with me. Lorna, welcome to our podcast.
Hi, Prabhat. Nice to see you as always.
Yeah, good to have you. Good to see you again. So, Lorna, why did you introduce yourself? And then after that, we'll go to the topic.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Lorna Leaver, one of the engagement managers for marketplaces working at GS1 UK. Most people know us for the barcodes, although we do a lot more than that. But as with Amazon sellers, the barcode number, the GTIN, that's where they normally start out on their journey.
Yeah, excellent. So today we've chosen a little bit tricky, and maybe we'll discuss a little bit longer on this. So, which is marketplace catalog challenges. We know people sell on Amazon, eBay, Bol.com, and I think this Brazilian marketplace. Remind me, Lorna, which we were talking just earlier.
Yeah, Mercado Libre, which is free market actually.
Excellent. So lots of people want to sell on these marketplaces, but there are always going to be challenges with so many people selling it. So, so what sort of challenges are you seeing at the moment?
Yeah, so basically, as we all know, marketplaces are relatively new in comparison to like the likes of the retailers. So they've all kind of grown up in the internet world and move a lot faster. So they've been sort of trying to work out how to do their catalogs in the best way that works for them. So they're all doing things slightly differently, which does make it a bit difficult for sellers, really. But basically, about last year, maybe year before now, wow, time flies during COVID, eh? We brought together what we call the marketplace advisory team to basically speak to these big marketplaces to understand where their challenges were. And they came up with what we've deemed as like 9 issues, almost in a pyramid, in order of the priority. So I thought it'd be really good to basically just say to your listeners what those issues are, so that we can start to almost get a dialogue going of the sellers to see how they handle those issues, and if what the marketplace is expecting is different to the way that the sellers would want to do it, and then basically see if we can put people forward to bring some sort of industry resolution, which is ultimately the entire point of what we do at GS1.
Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll leave the comments open on the YouTube video and allow people to put in comments, and perhaps get we can answer them through that, I believe, in time.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so if I go through the issues, basically the advisory team was made up for some of the big well-known names that you'd know in marketplaces, so Google, Amazon, the usuals, but obviously it's global, so we wanted to make sure that we included people like Alibaba, Metro, Bol.com and eBay. So those are the ones that weren't, but that are on the group, but we actually interviewed about 30 marketplaces to try and get a more well-rounded opinion. So what they've gave us, and I'll share the information so that you can see it a bit more visible, is that the top priority issues for them is around duplicate products. So one product having 10, 20, could be even more GTINs for that one product. So there's multiple GTINs that should only be for one product. So it should only be one GTIN. And then the other one is GTIN overuse. So basically the opposite way round. And what we're seeing is, obviously we talked about GTIN allocation rules in the last podcast.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is basically that presumably there's genuine reasons why people were doing it, but as part of our rules, you should only be applying one GTIN for one product. But where this isn't happening for various different reasons, it's causing problems. So what we would really like to see is where people are having to use something different or things like that, just to be able to understand what the reasons behind those are, so that we can try and alleviate that. Or if it's just a case of people aren't aware of what the allocation rules are, and we just need to concentrate on getting that message out.
Okay, excellent. So with these duplicates, I think generally I find people looking at listings on, say, predominantly Amazon, and then
Yeah.
because there is a buy box competition, which is it's a difficult thing to handle, as you can imagine. People go ahead and create the same listing again or duplicate them with the new GTIN, and I don't think there is any way Amazon is policing that or able to stop that.
Yeah, that is the problem, in that there is so much value on the buy box for Amazon that people are almost creating a separate listing to reduce the fight, reduce the competition on that listing. But the problem is that just makes it more confusing for a customer.
Yeah.
Because obviously they want to know that this is the product and this is the various ways that I can get that product. And if you then end up having to scroll through hundreds and hundreds of listings and trying to work out what's the difference, ultimately that's kind of where eBay are with things, right? They're on a listings base rather than a catalogue base.
Yeah.
And obviously people aren't used to that on Amazon, and all it's going to do is basically erode the trust of the shopper. And realistically, they do it to make it the best for the shopper. And so the same product, you should be using the same GTIN. But obviously, if you're using different ones, the way that Amazon are actually checking, you can come into issues with that as well. So really, you're just going to end up making your life more difficult. But if there's any reasons other than, you know, just trying to get around the buy box, I'd love to hear what those are.
Yeah, excellent. So good. So so you have other challenges you mentioned before, right?
Yeah, so they're the top priority ones. They're the ones that the marketplaces want us to look at first. But we've also got a sort of a secondary and a tertiary set. So the ones that they see as common are product variations. So how do they link related GTINs together? So basically how you identify uniquely and globally that a product is kind of like the master product with all the child products underneath. We do actually have a global model number, but marketplaces haven't really adopted that as a product identifier. So maybe that's what we're going to see as coming through. Not sure what the industry wants as the resolution for that. Then we've got online bundles. So this is where someone has either created their own, so maybe it's just a virtual only, or it's mixed brand. So if the brand hasn't given the bundle or its own identifier, or someone else is selling something that they've decided to group together themselves, they could be given their own number. And then again, this is where it causes issues for places like Amazon, where they're checking that the number matches the brand that's being sold. And then finally, we've got the white label ones, which are kind of falls into what we talked about first. Obviously, it's sometimes used as a way of almost making it seem like it's a different product. But ultimately, sometimes there is products that do look the same, but the branding is different. So it's understanding how we handle that, because for obvious reasons, these big manufacturers don't want to put the GTIN on the product that they sell, because then that means they can only sell it to one customer.
Yeah, you're right. And bundle is an interesting one. A lot of people I've seen, they've mixed 2 or 3 products together, even it can be a different brand, and then created their own ASIN basically. And I think, to be all honesty, looking at it, retailers are not doing this with the wrong intentions. They just want business.
Oh yeah, completely.
And marketplace sometimes has made it so difficult to make a business out of Amazon by just cutting the price.
Yes.
I know if price, low price is always good for the customer. We know that fact, but to make a viable business, there isn't very less option other than just creating your own GTIN, and they may have mixed up shoes with socks, for example, or different beauty products together and created a bundle pack. And I think that's not wrong. I don't think that may be the right strategy for that business to go forward. But I've also seen some people using a manufacturer single product barcode in their bundle. And that has happened when manufacturer did not list that product on Amazon. And a lot of people or a lot of brands don't want to list their products on Amazon for one reason or another. But what we are finding now, because brands didn't list it, the third party people use their EAN number and listed them. And when the third-party people listed them, brands suddenly realized, look, my listing is there, but it's not right. The image is not right, the title's not right, and all that sort of thing. So now I think brands have now started to wake up. No, we've got to get this sorted. So it's good, I think, on the back of this podcast, if anybody's listening and you're a brand, it's good to get your, at least the listing up there, even if you don't sell it. Even having that presence, creating a catalog, that may be helpful for a long run for any brands, really.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously the size of the Amazon catalog, there's going to be a lot in there with issues. And the other problem that's compounding it is that they were kind of, as all marketplaces do, they want it to be least friction when they first start out. But as they get bigger, they've got to standardize stuff and validate things more. And then that's when problems come in, because you're still always going to have that backlog that was almost the Wild West, where everyone could put whatever they wanted. And then it's, especially those sellers that started when it was like that, they're then getting confused by the new rules that are coming into place and don't understand why they listed it before with no problem, but now they're having to do all these other hoops just to get something listed. So there's going to be a lot of teething problems, especially with the marketplaces that are going through to the maturity stage now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, eBay started to look into the GTIN a little bit more. Do you know, is it mandatory at the moment? It's not, is it?
For where, sorry?
For eBay.
Yeah, there's a lot that they're more relying on the item specifics, so the little attributes that help the filtering. I think most categories are still able to tick the does not apply, and I think it's just because there's an even bigger shift change for eBay, because they're listings based, so all of their sellers have never had to buy into the catalog process. So you've got to change that whole culture and that whole behavior, as well as teaching them about why you should use GTINs. And obviously the nature of eBay is a bit more C2C, so you might not have the packaging anymore. It's also more, although 80% is new product, it's still kind of known for the more niche products, which ultimately, and like antiques, which again, they don't ultimately lend themselves to even needing a GTIN in the first place. Yeah. One-off or like antiques products, they're never going to have numbers, because GTINs have only been around 50 years.
Okay.
So lots of problems to solve. So we need all the members and all of the retailers and anybody that's using the numbers or has experience of it to come forward and say, these are the issues that we're finding. If we do this, or if we were allowed to do that, it would make things a lot easier. That's the kind of input that we need, because ultimately the standards are being created by the industry for the industry to use. And things like marketplaces have kind of, well, they've come in and disrupted every sector, right? That's what they do. They are disruptors. So supply chain standards are no different. They're disrupting that, and we need to make sure that it works for now and for the future. Yeah,
no, excellent. I think it's a good conversation today. So thank you again for your time, Lorna, today. I'm sure listeners will value, what we've shared and what you've shared, what's happening with the different marketplaces. So shall we leave it with a call out to any listeners? If you've got any challenges, put in a comment on this YouTube video, and perhaps myself or Lorna can come back and comment back. Or is it best to contact you directly, Lorna?
Yeah, I'll share some contact details. And what I'll also share maybe is we produced this like little test just to see if people understood some GTIN allocation rules. It's only 5 questions, super quick, but that might also give us some information around whether it is just the GTIN allocation rules or whether the standards do need changing. So I'll put the link in for that as well, and give it a try, see how you get on.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Thank you very much for your time, Lorna.